This video is sponsored by PotownStore.com, the best place to get yourself some TCGO code cards. Looking for that last card to complete your deck, or just to get the latest booster packs in town like Chilling Ring, for example. You can use the coupon code ZapDoesTCG for 5% off your complete order. How fantastic is that? Also, this video is sponsored by cardmarket.com. This is a European platform where you're gonna be able to buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. I personally use it every single day, and they even have old school cards for the collectors out there. Last but not least, this video is also sponsored by yourplaymat.com. This is a website where you're gonna be able to create your own unique custom playmat. Use the coupon code ZapDoesTCG10YP for 10% off your complete order, or just click the link in the description below to create your own fantastic playmat for the new season. Anyhow, thanks for sticking around with the commercials. I'll see you guys in a bit, so see you then. What's up YouTube, it's ZapDoesTCG here, and welcome back to our TCG video on my channel. Today we're actually going to be checking out a tier list of the new Sword and Shield on meta. Of course, there's going to be a rotation happening on the 10th of September. And these are going to be archetypes that are somewhat viable, are actually worth taking a look at, starting from Sword and Shield all the way to Evolving Skies. So Evolving Skies is also included in this video, so hopefully you guys are excited for this video. If you are, be sure to let me know by destroying the hell out of the like button. It helps out so much and I appreciate it quite a ton. We have already talked about a lot of deck profiles on the channel, about the post-rotation content. We've talked about a lot of tier 1 decks, and now it's actually time to rank all the decks that are actually in today's meta and see what comes out on top. This is just my personal opinion. If your opinion is different, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. If I'm also excluding some cards that you think might actually see potential and some play here and there, also let me know in the comment section below. This is just based on my testing. I have been testing a lot of decks in post-rotation format. And yeah, this is just my opinion, so hopefully you guys are going to be enjoying the ride. There's going to be a longer video because there's a lot of decks to choose from. I know we are losing the tag teams. If you want to learn about the rotation and all that, there are links in the description below to learn about which cards we're losing, which decks are yeah, still viable, and also talking about the top 20 best cards of Evolving Skies. Without further ado, this is the tier list I actually made up, so I created it myself. So we have tier 1 is actually going to be a deck that you want to have to at least play at yeah, one of the upcoming events, or actually know how to play against it. You really need to know how these decks function in order to make a chance at actually winning a tournament, because these decks are going to be everywhere because they are just so good. Tier 1.5 are just not nearly there. Maybe they're losing some of the consistency issues, and yeah, maybe they have consistency issues all around. Maybe they're losing a couple of cards with rotation. Maybe they actually have terrible matchups here and there, so that's why they're still not the best deck in format. Also, I don't know what the best deck in the format is, I just know what the best decks are in general. So just pick one of the tier 1 decks and you're going to be doing fine in a post-rotation tournament. Tier 2 are just decks that do very well but have specific weaknesses. Let's say, oh, I don't want to see that matchup entirely or lose. Same for, you'll see a couple of examples, like Decidueye is also tier 2, just because of the fact that people could be running an Aegislash, they could be running One Prizers, they could be running Phoebes and Palpats in order to just counter you, so they have reasonable counters, and that's why they are specifically tier 2. Tier 3 are decks I personally would not be playing ever, so don't touch the tier 3 decks. And then rogue decks are decks that might do well at a specific tournament and then drop out of the face of the earth once again. So it all depends on yeah, the situation and the tournament, to be honest. So these are rogue decks classified, and you also won't see a lot of yeah, people playing rogue decks a lot. So there's going to be, like, for instance, we're going to be showcasing some of the examples very shortly. So yeah, let's just get the show on the road. And I think one of the best decks, if not the best deck, is going to be Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX. Is definitely one of the best decks. You definitely need to know how this functions. I know it loses Gengar and Mimikyu, which means it's not going to be the best deck in the format, beating everything. This deck list is very similar to the one we already got familiar with pre-rotation. You use Alcremie VMAX as your late game finisher or mid game finisher, and you're going to be able to one-hit KO any VMAX in town. If you have 6 energies on your field, you're going to be able to do that. We have the new Galarian Articuno, which helps out quite a bit to just get more energies into play in order to make that happen more consistently. We have Pum Kabu, a new card from Evolving Skies, which actually has a similar role like Marshadow. Unfortunately, the Pum Kabu does not discard itself, so maybe Yeah, if you're playing Pum Kabu with some Scoop Up Nets, you're going to be playing the Path to the Peak engine. Maybe you're playing Aurora Energy and still are playing some Zapdos to counter your Eternatus weakness. A lot of things are possible for sure with a Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX deck, and the cool thing about this is that it's still consistent as ever. We have the Quick Balls, we have stuff like the Fog Crystal, the new additions as mentioned, Pum Kabu, discarding special Stadium card when you slap it on the bench, and the Articuno, when you slap it down, you actually can accelerate 2 Psychic Energies from the hand instantly to it. So I definitely put this in tier 1. I've tested Shadow Rider Calyrex VMAX myself a little bit, so I know what to do. Next, as a little example, a tier 1.5 archetype. Let's see here. Which one are we going to take? I think the good thing is going to be Eternatus VMAX. Eternatus VMAX is a great deck, don't get me wrong, but it has its problems because it is weak to fighting, and Rapid Strike Urshifu is going to be one of the top dogs in town. And actually has such a great matchup against Eternatus VMAX that it is just laughable. So that's why it's not tier 1. Eternatus is still very consistent. It also gains the new Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies, which means it can now Gust without having to play boss. Instead, you can just go Crobat, research, find Umbreon VMAX, evolve into that, and just Gust whatever you please. You could be running my version of the deck with Old Cemetery and Galarian Zigzagoon, so you are able to one-hit KO VMAXs as, thinking about it, if they are accelerating an energy from the hand, and if Old Cemetery stays in play. So cool things about Eternatus. Also, Eternatus is of course a solid deck. It's very consistent because of the fact you're playing 4 Crobat V, which actually draws cards. So I'm putting it at 1.5. That's a very cool example. Next, discussing a tier 2 deck is Decidueye. Decidueye could actually win an entire tournament, but it's all based upon your matchups. This actually means if people are playing one prize Pokemon a lot, you're not gonna have a good time. Let's say you're into a meta full of Rapid Strike and Malamar. You're not gonna have a good time because you're gonna be losing. Also, the fact that the Urshifu now can actually one-hit KO 2 of the Pokemon going second because you no longer have Mew makes me a little bit concerned. Also, people are also attacking in Phoebe for the crazy new Zamazenta wall deck. So as well as the Glaceon VMAX. So Decidueye just got in the crossfire of new decks arising from Evolving Skies. The problem with that is that people are attacking their Phoebe, of course. Also, again, and Zation decks, they of course could be attacking that crazy, Aegislash, which actually goes through any effects. And even new decks like the Duraludon also have, of course, the attack effect that you go through all effects. So Decidueye is very cool. You actually will win a lot of matchups if the opponent is not playing or actually preparing for it, and that's very, very awesome. Tier 2 for me, a perfect example. Moving forward, a tier 3 deck is going to be, let's see here, which is a perfect example of a tier 3 deck. What will we take? Yeah, Sylveon. That's a cool example. Sylveon is a new deck in town, which actually slaps more damage. Who remembers Rainbow Road Xerneas? Well, actually, same story here. You slap more damage depending on how many different types you have on your bench. The problem is we don't have Skyfield, and another problem is we don't have dual types, not just yet at least. It's a Rapid Strike card. You could be playing Blaziken, Zeraora, Rapid Strike Urshifu, and Octillery, so you have there a mix match of all Rapid Strike Pokemon in there, and that could be meaning you could have a type coverage while being a Rapid Strike deck. I think it's needing too much energies in my regard, like 3 energies is a little bit too much. You don't have that elemental badge like you had with Jolteon VMAX, but we're going to be talking about that soon. So now we're actually defining how the tiers look like. As for a rogue deck, what can we better classify as a rogue deck than this wicked Sableye V Inteleon deck? This is not like a bad deck, by all means, just because you can have Inteleon spreading damage and Sableye to finish the job. The cool thing why I've put this on here is that I tested this with Ryan, a new supporter which actually allows you to accelerate an energy from the discard pile so you can get back-to-back Sableyes, which is very strong and very scary in the, a lot of matchups, just because you can one-hit KO VMAXs, and that's why I think it deserves a spot here on the rogue slot. All of these decks will actually get featured at one point on the channel when TCGO has the cards available. We still have to wait 17 days. Cool thing is, next week we of course will be having a pre-release, so that's gonna be awesome. Some packs opening up for you. So if you guys are a fan of course, pack openings and everything Pokemon TCG competitive related, be sure to let me know by destroying the hell out of that like button. I'm gonna give you all the best information I possibly can come up with, and I do a lot of testing. I make a lot of decks, and hopefully we'll get better at this game. So this is the categories we classified right now. Let's just dive in, shall we? Another tier 1 deck I want to talk about is the Ice Pony, aka Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. Just like his Shadow brother, it's a very good deck, and I think it's even better than the Shadow Rider. Post-rotation, pre-rotation, the Shadow one is way better just because of Gengar Mimikyu. Post-rotation, Ice Rider is probably one of the best, if not the best deck in town, just because it doesn't lose a lot. It basically keeps his entire engine. Inteleon engine is there. You can use Leon to one-hit KO at one point. That's something I really love about the Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX is also you're playing 4 Path to the Peak. So Underworld Door, Shutdown, Eternal Zone, Shutdown. A lot of abilities of VMAXs abilities from like V Pokemon are shut down, which is something I adore. So we have ourselves the Ice Pony, very consistent, strong deck. And with Melanie, you're going to be able to get back-to-back attacks off with Max Lance. And 250 on the, if you go first with this deck, it's also very scary just because you can get a boss out with Drizzle. And you're going to see a lot of Inteleon engines in all of these decks. Moving forward, the Rilladan VMAX. I'm going to be putting this at tier 3. And the reason for that is that I know it has a wicked ability, being able to, of course, wall from special energies. But as we've seen in the tier 1 category, right now there's none of them playing special energies. Eternatus also might not be playing special energies. So it is going to be a factor here. Ability is strong, but could be played around with very much because not all decks will be playing like all special energies and no basics. I haven't seen a lot of decks do that. And also this attack is actually very interesting, but it needs a lot of setup. It needs 2 Metal, a Carless, and a fighting energy as well. Actually no, it's just a fighting and 2 metals, but still, that's still too much to be honest, just because we are gonna have to get this with Saucer and Touch of Turn. I know there's the Duraludon from Champion's Path, which is a Metal V Pokemon. But still, back-to-back the Duraludon's a little bit hard for me. Moving forward, talking about some more new decks as Rayquaza VMAX. Putting this on the tier 1.5. Is it better than Eternatus? Well, it depends on consistency to be honest, but Rayquaza VMAX can one-shot, of course, opposing VMAXs. I'm putting it here on the higher end of 1.5. The reason why it's been holding back, I'm gonna explain that. That's all because of Rapid Strike Urshifu and the reason that they're gonna be able to KO your Flaffies. But Rayquaza VMAX, I already did a deck profile on this archetype. You use the Stormy range to get your Pokemon in play. You use some Level Balls and Quick Balls as well to make that happen. The following turn, you evolve Rayquazas and Mareeps into their evolution. So we have Rayquaza VMAX and Flaffies up on your board. And with the crazy ability, the Blue Sky Surge, you're going to be able to draw deeper into your deck, find something like a Rose, accelerate more energies, and one-hit KO VMAXs. Take your prize cards. So, strong archetype, has of course weaknesses when they get rid of their Flaffies. We have tested this as well, and as soon as the Flaffies are gone, it feels a little bit clunky in my opinion, but when they don't, it could be the best deck in format. Also, Path to the Peak shuts down the ability, so that's why there's also some stadium options. You can go for the Tower of Water, since Rayquaza is a Rapid Strike Pokemon, or you could be going for the Stormy range for extra consistency, getting stuff out of the deck. Alright, moving forward, we're gonna go for Malamar tier 2 deck. And this is a cool tier 2 deck, and the reason why it's tier 2 is that not only is it Malamar the only attacker, so if you cannot get multiple in-case up in field, they can like Umbreon Gust you, they can boss you, they can do snipe mechanics, so the bench is no longer safe. Mew from Unbroken Bonds is entirely gone, so the bench is not safe, but Malamar is cool. You can one-hit KO VMAXs, you slap 40 damage for every Rapid Strike card you're willing to reveal from the hand. And mark my words, if you have stuff like Research on top of Chinchino Draw, and an Octillery, you will get the one-hit KOs you desire. And that's gonna be awesome. I know this deck lost Oricorio GX, but it's still a great one-prizer. And also the cool thing about one-prizers these days is that ADP is gone. That means like that matchup is entirely gone. Otherwise it was like, one prize against ADP, I lose the game because they only need to attack 3 times to win the game. Now we do have still Rapid Strike Urshifu. Let's just talk about Urshifu a little bit. While we're at it, there's 2 variants. There's the one with Moltres, which I'm putting at 1.5. And there is, of course, the most consistent version as the one with Inteleon. I know it has a horrible matchup against Shadow Rider Calyrex. Yeah, it has a horrible matchup against the Shadow Rider Calyrex, but this one has some consistency issues. So this is super consistent, works very well. Turn to G-Max Rapid Flows. You can search out your Orion for back-to-back G-Max Rapid Flows. This is very cool with Energy Search. Has a better matchup against Shadow Rider, but on the other hand has consistency issues. So yeah, both Urshifu decks are very strong. Maybe we put them both in tier 1 just because Urshifu is just so well-rounded nowadays. Just because of the G-Max Rapid Flow, it's gonna be strong. Mew is gone, so they're just, I'm putting both of them in tier 1. I don't even care that they have sometimes consistency issues. Most important tournaments are best of 3. That's going to be mattering a lot. So maybe we just put it like this, right? Cool. So what can Urshifu do? 120 to two of the opponent's Pokemon. You can have Passimian helping you out against V Pokemon, as well as Telescopic Sight. 180 to a bench V Pokemon is crazy, or a VMAX for that matter. And also Inteleon helping you out with snipe capabilities. Super crazy for sure. Yeah, maybe we just put that on the higher end of 1.5. I know this has a better matchup against stuff like Shadow Rider. Still don't know. Still putting it around tier 1 for now. We can still move that up a little bit here and there. Victini VMAX. There's a lot of versions of Victini VMAX. I'm putting it on 1.5. Although, if this deck goes first, it actually is crazy. If you go first and have Umbreon as well, you're one of the most scary decks in the format. The reason why I'm not putting it at tier 1 is that if you go second, you actually can get overrun quite easily, and that's something I don't like with Victini VMAX. Going first, you're like king of the world. You do your stuff, get capture energy, get Umbreon, or maybe you're playing the Inteleon engine, evolve into Drizzle, Bossasaurus, and all that. But if you go second and they take out your Victini before you're able to evolve, that's a little bit tricky for sure. Also, you're weak against Ice Rider, which will of course be very, very popular because it's very, very good. So 1.5 for me. So as you can see, the meta has been turned into VMAX meta. Where's Baby Blacephalon when you need it, right? I know Malamar can do some stuff as well, but yeah, we don't have Oricorio GX. Yeah, we need something like an Oricorio GX back, or maybe one prizers need some other stuff. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about a tier 3 deck, Dhelmise. Yeah, Dhelmise is an interesting deck. We still have Rillaboom. The problem is we no longer have Rowx, which is able to evolve your little, Rowlet. Actually, your real Twacky and all that. Yeah, you don't have the way you can explode with the evolution of Rowx GX. Rowlet and Alolan Exeggutor was good for Rillaboom. Now we have to resort to rare candies. We don't have a lot of great stage 1 VMAXs or just basic grass Pokemon in general. So tier 3, very bad deck. I know Wilder's gone, which is like the saddest part about this. Yeah, if you want to be playing grass, you probably want to be playing something like Leafeon, which is a solid tier 2 deck. Even the higher end of tier 2, by the way. You have Galar Mines, which actually help out to boost your damage output. You can be playing this with Inteleon for additional damage output, so you can maybe one-hit KO at one point. Some quick shooting, Galar Mine, crazy damage output. Leafeon V is also very consistent because you can, of course, use the ability of the Leafeon V, the Greening Cells ability, accelerating a grass energy from the deck all the way to you. And that means you never whiff the first turn energy. That means the second turn, the grass knot slaps more damage. 60 damage for every energy at the opponent's retreat cost. For example, let's just take Victini for instance. Victini has a 2 retreat cost. That means with Galar Mine, you're slapping 240 freaking damage. That's a lot, right? With some Inteleon pings, you're actually getting somewhere. Sometimes you don't get the one-hit KO you desire, but the Inteleon pings will make it better if the game lasts long enough. You hit weakness against Umbreon and Galarian Moltres as well, so a solid tier 2 deck. You definitely have to check out Leafeon VMAX. There's also going to be a deck profile coming up on that deck very shortly. Okay, moving forward, Mad Party tier 3. Let me explain why Mad Party is tier 3. First of all, Mew from Unbroken Bonds is gone. Secondly, the triple accelerated energy is gone. You can go for a Cherrim engine. You totally could do that, but yeah, it's a tricky thing for sure. Also, now that I think about it, when I'm seeing the list right now, I think Reggie Draco is also missing from this list, if I'm being honest. That means Reggie Draco, I will be putting that in tier 3 as well. Has some consistency issues, so putting it at tier 3. For the people who are wondering, where is Reggie Draco? I would be putting that at tier 3. Okay, so as mentioned, Mad Party pretty much falls apart. We still have Twin Energy, and there's also that new energy which accelerates from the prizes if you get it, but it's super clunky. Now a cool rogue deck is Flareon VMAX. It will not always work, mark my words, but if you can get 3 energies on top of the deck, you'd actually discard the top 5 cards of your deck. For every energy you find there, you actually slap 100 damage. And it's a single strike Pokemon, so if you can get 2 single strikes on there with something like Houndoom, you thin out the deck as well, and it's gonna be crazy, the damage output you're dealing. The reason why it's rogue is that it will not always work every single time. And that means you will not... Sometimes you win everything, sometimes you don't. That's how it is. Sometimes you just discard all trainers and you say like, I'm not doing any damage at all. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about... Let's see here. Yeah, Zation V Inteleon, another solid tier 1 deck. Putting it over here, yeah. I'm feeling confident putting it over there. So what can you see about the tier 1 decks is that they are very aggressive. They spread either a ton of damage, they slap huge damage. They're very consistent. So maybe we'll put that at 1.5. I'm still not sure about this one, but you already have an idea of what the format will be looking like. This is all theory crafting, by the way. Cinderace, I also think this is yeah, a tier 2 deck. You hit weakness against Zation. And yeah, you also have that new Cinderace from Chilling Reign, which is actually able to get one hit KO in the late game. No more ADP around. I know stuff like Rapid Strike Urshifu can actually swoop your Chinchinotes, but other than that, against other VMAX decks, you're gonna have an awesome time because you 2-shot VMAXs and the late game you 1-shot a VMAX. So I think Cinderace could actually be very good. Maybe even better than Malamar. Maybe not. Okay, maybe put the Decidueye over here. So what else can I say is that I was talking about Zation here. Zation with Inteleon is very strong. There's also a Zation deck with Ludicolo, which is a little bit memey. I'm putting it on the rogue deck category here. If you evolve into Ludicolo, you slap 100 additional damage. We made a deck profile on that deck already. If you can get it out, it's awesome, but sometimes you don't get it out, and that's why these rogue decks sometimes can surprise everybody, but on the other hand, if you don't get it out, it's going to be bad. Zation with Inteleon is very strong. Let's just be honest, you have Inteleon to spread some damage counters around. With the Rusted sword, you're actually going to be able to slap 260 damage. That means you only need 3 Inteleon pings to one-hit KO certain VMAXs. You also are able to attack very quickly because the Drizzle engine, let's say Quick Ball, Energy, the Drizzle finds the Metal Saucer, and you can attack very quickly. And with, of course, stuff like the Cape of Toughness, you're going to have 270 HP. Not a lot of decks are able to do that on the second turn. I know Max Land slaps 250, which is not enough. The Ice Rider will not be able to KO the Zation. Other decks as well, they will have difficulty with, of course, the high amount of HP that the Cape of Toughness will provide for Zation V. So that's why it's strong. Okay, moving forward, solid tier 2 deck is Gengar VMAX with Umbreon VMAX. The reason why it's not any higher is that I haven't tested this deck all too much, but I have seen that if you play 2 stage 1s, it's a little bit tricky, right? That means there's no longer Pokemon communication, so you'll need 4 Evolution Incense, 4 Quick Ball, and you cannot get Level Ball, so it's like you need 4 Quick Ball, and you need to get your Gengar V out and your Umbreon V out, and also you need to have these item cards that put stuff from the opponent's discard pile on the opponent's bench, so you need to have a lot of space in the deck, and that's sometimes it feels very good, but people that play cleverly can play around the Gengar VMAX, and that's something I don't like. But in Japan, it has proven itself very worthy, but that was pre-rotation. Moving forward, what we're going to talk about up next. Let's talk about a tier 3 deck. Is going to be Centiskorch VMAX. This is still alive, fellas. You can use Cricketune, you can use Rose, you can use Attach of Turn and Heat Fire Energies. Make it a very, very tanky Centiskorch VMAX with Big Charm. It stays alive, you absorb energies. You know how Centiskorch works by now. You also poke a little bit, so you can 2-shot VMAX, and if the Centiskorch stays alive, you can even 1-shot some stuff. You no longer have Welder, so you will need 2 Cricketune and some Rose by your side, but it feels a little bit worsened out without Welder. Moving forward, another tier 3 deck is a Lightning Box of Flaffy. If you want to be playing a Flaffy deck, Rayquaza is the way to go. Don't play like, you could be playing Turbo Bolton with Turbo Patches and Flaffies all together, but it seems clunky to me, but I've actually added it as an option. Okay, moving forward, solid tier 2 deck is the Zamazenta Wall deck. This is an interesting one with Rusted Shield. You play a lot of Pum Kabus and some stadiums to overlap stuff like the Path to the Peak. As soon as Path to the Peak is gone, the opponent will have to attack with their regular V Pokemon, and that might actually cause a lot of trouble because this deck also plays some Zations. So pretty much with Rusted Shield, you're actually going to be super tanky with Zamazenta V, and there's also that Stadium card, which allows you to heal off more damage from your Metal types, and yeah, that could be causing a lot of trouble for a lot of these decks, because most V Pokemon are not that threat, and they're not causing any threat. Let's say that. Okay, moving forward. There's still a lot of bad decks out there. I think a tier 2 deck could be single Strike Urshifu VMAX with Houndoom. Sounds like a reasonable deck because, as mentioned, this could also one-hit KO VMAXs. Again, consistency issues. And you are also weak against Shadow Rider, which is a little bit of a problem. I know Rapid Strike is also weak against Shadow Rider, but that has better matchups across the board for sure. Then Suicune Aurora, I will also put that in tier 2, and I like the Aurora build with Suicune. You use the Altaria to get whatever you want from supporter on top of the deck. You can use Zapdos, Galarian Zapdos, and maybe some other attackers that require Aurora energy to attack with. Suicune also slaps a lot of damage, and because of the fact you get Melanie, you can actually get some V Pokemon set up with Aurora energy and Melanie, which actually could provide to be some sort of an Aurora box, which hits everything for weakness, right? You hit the meta for weakness. Okay, Dracopult, I would be putting it at tier 3, I'm sorry. I know there's a couple of Dracopult believers out there because there's like stuff like Inteleon moving around, and you can spread some damage counters, take some cheeky prize card. The problem is that the damage output 130 was fine in a meta with tag teams. In a meta filled with VMAXs, I'm not a big fan of the 130 damage output. Certain decks might even play Cheryl, and it's gonna be bad. The Dracopult doesn't like stuff like the Ice Pony, Ice Rider Calyrex VMAX. It doesn't like Victini VMAX. It doesn't like Eternatus VMAX. Even Rapid Strike with Galarian Moltres V doesn't like Rayquaza. So yeah, I have to put it in tier 3 based on the statistics shown right here. Togekiss Bronzon. This is on the rogue kind of side. This is a deck that could potentially work because there's no like lightning weakness, as you can see. I know certain decks like Rayquaza might be playing Vikavolt to go for weakness, but Rayquaza will not be the most popular deck, so this is a rogue deck with Bronzong. Do like this rogue deck because you can scout out your Cheryls with Togekiss, move their energies around, and keep spamming that crazy good effect of Cheryl. Now there's some wicked decks remaining. We're going to be talking about Zeraora and Blaziken. The cool thing I'm putting it here on the tier 2 slot is just because of the fact that you actually are able to utilize the typing of Blaziken to one-hit KO Zations. You also are able to, of course, snipe the bench, which is huge. No longer Mew is no longer an issue. And yeah, you of course have multiple attackers that you can use. And Cheryl could be also a thing that might slide his way into this kind of deck because you can manually retreat your Blaziken, then set up another Blaziken with, of course, the attack to accelerate energies on the bench. Okay, moving forward. I'm putting Jolteon in tier 3, the high end of tier 3, and the reason why that is that it's just utterly weak to a lot of these archetypes. Rayquaza, although now that I think about it, Jolteon can win against Rayquaza if it is able to snipe these Flaffies, right? 100-100 seems not like a big deal in a lot of matchups, if I'm being honest, although 100 on stuff like Drizzile seems like a lot of fun. Should we put it higher? Jolteon VMAX with Orbeetle. This deck could work. We've tested it out with Aurora Energies and Galarian Zapdos as a way out. We do have the Cheryl spam, so putting it tier 3 is a little bit harsh, I think. Let's just put it over here. Right? Should we lower any of these decks down? Maybe the Zamazenta, because people are playing Path to the Peak. People are playing Phoebe. They could go through this ability. Am I a believer of Zamazenta V-Stall? Certain decks that do not have answers might actually struggle against this, so yeah, this is going to be quite the theory crafting, mark my words. Wailord, the memeiest deck, rogue deck of all time, although I put it in tier 3 here. I know this could work if you go like second and you can dive up some energies and then do the attack, but it all comes down to Glimwood Tangle being in your favor. Let's say you flip coins, you have an average of like 240, right? Because you flip 3 coins, Glimwood Tangle assures you to actually get maybe 240, not enough. You do have 280 with Cape of Toughness, a scary monster. Will this be a deck? I don't know. Rayquaza one-shots it. Eternatus one-shots it. I don't know. If they're playing Frozma, then the G-Max Rapid Flow does a lot of damage. I don't know, this seems better than tier 3. I'm putting it at Rogue for now. Yeah, we need to test out Wailord, that's what I'm thinking here. Glaceon VMAX. I still have to test this one out, but I'm putting it on tier 2. Just because it has the same ability as Zamazenta, but it's actually a little bit stronger. You have Melanie, you have the Snow Crystal, Snow Leaf Crystal, actually Badge, Snow Leaf Badge, which actually makes sure you don't have any single weakness, so you don't have to worry about your weakness. And you also will have free retreat, which means it's going to be totally awesome to work with this. Maybe you can play this with a Frostmoth engine, so you can get rid of your energies, play something like Training Cord and Capacious Buckets, use Cheryl, heal up all damage, get energies back, you have free retreat, it's awesome like that. Yeah, we still have to explore Glaceon VMAX. This looks pretty okay. You also hit weakness against Victini VMAX, by the way. Okay. Maybe there's too much Dex in tier 2. Maybe we can clean that up a little bit later. Vikavolt tier 3. This actually might become better. You can play this with Flaffy, but I also seen decks playing this with Inteleon, with Item Lock and Inteleon. This actually seems strong because a lot of these decks are actually lowering down their switch count. No longer Tandem Shock as a problem. They will play more air balloons, and maybe we can punish that, trap them, and snipe them while we're at it. Umbreon VMAX deck with Houndoom, tier 1.5. This actually is an interesting deck just because it only uses a lower, like maybe a 2-2 line of single Strike Urshifu VMAX, but it focuses on Umbreon VMAX as the main attacker in combination with Houndoom to accelerate the single strike energies. That means you can hunt after evolving V Pokemon as soon as you get more like 3 single strike energies on your Umbreon VMAX. I know it's doesn't seem too possible, but we have Tower of Darkness with consistency, you have Lava Balls, you have Quick Balls. You might actually figure it out. Okay, moving forward, Vaporeon VMAX tier 3 for me. Yeah, I know it has, of course, the Bubble Pot, which actually could become crazy if you're able to get something into play and accelerate energies to it. The damage output is not too impressive. Zation can do it better, and other decks as well. So the damage output not too impressive, but it's a Rapid Strike Pokemon being able to get Water Pokemon into play. Even Stage 2 Water Pokemon, so it all comes down to if we get better Pokemon. And for now, that's not the case. Corviknight VMAX. With the Cheryl Bronzon engine, we no longer have the Danny GX to draw cards. Tier 3, I guess? Yeah, something like this, right? Tier 3, I know we have Cheryl, I know we have Eldegoss, I know we have Bronzon to move around the energy. We slap 240, we are immune from stuff like Inteleon pings onto us, so could become better, who knows? People will need to try out. I know Welder's gone, but Victini is still out there. But people actually are underestimating Corviknight VMAX. Maybe we should flip around some decks here. There's a lot of decks in tier 2. We're going to be doing that after we're done with the rest of these decks. So Viper Stonejourner, 1 price single strike deck. Hitting weakness against, Shadow Rider, hitting weakness against Eternatus. But lose entirely into Urshifu, so yeah, tier 3. Blissey, tier 3 as well. I'm not gonna be be kind about it because Blissey now has a weakness to fighting. We've lost a lot of recycled energies and all that, so that seems to be not recycled energies like weak guard energies, draw energies and stuff. Lapras VMAX coming a little bit short with the damage output, but could burst very quickly. It was nice to one-shot tag teams. Without Dedenne, I think this is a little bit too slow. You had like Crobat, Dedenne, Research, finding everything, setting everything up. For now, it's like tier 3. I'm sorry. Sorry, Sophie, if you're watching this. Lapras could become better, but I know like the lightning weakness shouldn't be an issue because only Rayquaza plays some sort of a lightning based attacker, and that's in the higher end of the tier list. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about like Lapras. Other decks are way faster, don't need a lot of setup. This actually will 2-shot most of the time, and these also 2-shot with less effort. And then Inteleon VMAX, solid tier 2 deck. This needs to come out as well as Gengar VMAX in collection boxes, so we already put them in there. As mentioned, Reggie Draco is also a rogue deck. It still needs to prove itself. It's a little bit inconsistent in my opinion, but a rogue or tier 3, although it could become better when, we have a bench blocker. We actually need a bench blocker very quickly, otherwise Urshifu is going to go rampant. So let's see here. Lots of tier 2 decks, lots of tier 3 decks. Tier 3 decks are solid. Let's see here. Gengar, Umbreon seems okay. Decidueye, Leafeon. Suicune, Inteleon. Yeah, these are all decks you might actually come across. Maybe Jolteon is a little bit far-fetched just because of the high amount of Urshifu being played, as well as single strike Urshi, so let's put it on the higher end of tier 3. Glaceon VMAX on the lower end of tier 2, and maybe Blaziken. This seems okay to me. So yeah, we've gone through most of the decks for the Sword and Shield on meta. So yeah, that's what we came up with, ladies and gentlemen. This is my tier list. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to let me know by destroying the hell out of the like button. Helps out in many ways. This is only theory crafting. It could be entirely different, but I feel very secure about the top positions in this tier list. If you want to make a deck for post rotation, be sure to take a tier 1 or a tier 1.5 archetype, and you're gonna be glad you did so, because they will be performing quite good. They have something going for them, and they are most of the time consistent. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Be sure to check out our sponsors, PokeTownStore.com, for the TCGO code cards. If you're looking for Evolving Skies TCGO code cards, they will have them up on stock very, very shortly. Be sure to refresh the website, and you can get 5% off your complete order when checking out using the coupon code ZapDoseTCG. Also, go check out cardsmarket.com. If you're a European player, you can buy and sell cards to people all across Europe. And last but certainly not least is going to be yourplaymat.com. This website is a very cool website where you're able to create your own unique custom playmat. If you click the link in the description right now, you get 10% off your complete order, and they ship worldwide. So what more do you want? So yeah, create your own playmat for the new season, and of course play one of these fantastic decks. And most of these decks will have a deck profile somewhere on the channel. Be sure to look out for it, and if they don't have one just yet, they're gonna come onto the channel very shortly. If you enjoyed it, be sure to let me know what your favorite deck is and what you're going to be playing in the new season down below in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Thanks again for watching. This has been a fun video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow with more Pokemon TCG epicness. I'm out. Peace.